It's definitely a good thing. I think it also heralds like a new era for Bitcoin as we get into this halving. I think from 20 to 24 was the era of Michael Saylor. He defined that epoch of Bitcoin with his big buys of Bitcoin. And now we're entering into a new era, the Larry Finks of the world. And I'm looking over there at the Mid East at Saudi Aramco, is a huge company with a lot of cash. I think they should get into Bitcoin. I think these are going to be the new mega players in the sovereign states and the sovereign wealth funds who are going to start buying big into Bitcoin. So it's this new era that we're entering into.
Max Keiser, a respected figure in the Bitcoin community and senior Bitcoin advisor to President Bukele of El Salvador, has been deeply involved in the Bitcoin space since his initial purchase in 2011. Back then, Bitcoin was often dismissed as magic internet money, primarily a pastime for computer enthusiasts. Over the years, Bitcoin has shed that perception and evolved into a mainstream asset, even attracting attention from major Wall Street players like BlackRock, the world's largest asset management firm. Anticipating the potential impact of spot Bitcoin ETFs on the financial system, Max welcomed the approval of these ETFs, foreseeing easy access for large institutional investors, including those from Big Oil, Saudi Arabia, and various sovereign wealth funds worldwide. While Max initially predicted a significant price surge with a potential buy order of 1 million Bitcoin, he acknowledges that the ETF launch has been somewhat disappointing, attributing the decline in Bitcoin's price to Vanguard's decision to restrict customer purchases of cryptocurrency-related products. Despite this setback, Max remains optimistic, asserting that a rally to $50,000 per Bitcoin is not far off. Clips from Max Keiser's recent interview with Scott Melker will be featured next.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
What's happening is, as you see with Wall Street now coming into Bitcoin with the spot ETFs, Larry Fink decided he wanted to have balls. And over there at Franklin Templeton, they look like they're going down the vagina route, right? Because they're going down the shitcoin route. They're talking about Web3. They've got their vagina out, which is not what we want. We want balls. We want testicles. We don't want vaginas in the Bitcoin space. We've got Kathy Woods. She's got balls, right? Which is interesting because she was born with a vagina, but she's got balls. With her ETF, ARKB, she's Bitcoin, centric. She understands the Bitcoin philosophy and ethics. So, I stand by my word, Scott. We broke that story, and it's become ever more important. And we should say thank you to Michael Saylor because he did a fantastic job in taking Bitcoin. In my view, he took it out of the gutter because when he appeared on the scene, people were in the shitcoin world, like the Bitcoin Cashes and the Bitcoin's Satoshi Visions and all these other coins and projects and failed nightmares had some agency. People did give them a little bit of play, but when Michael Saylor appeared, and he was so articulate and so brilliant and so aggressive in his Bitcoin position, that he really put everybody in the shade, and he did a great job doing that. And he's, I think, really a hero, a Bitcoin hero.
It's hard to be first, and I think we have seen that, right? Michael Saylor was first, and I think, well, also you have to remember that Elon Musk was also involved and put that on his balance sheet, and still has it on I believe it's the Tesla balance sheet from that same period, right after Michael Saylor. So to be fair, he has stuck with his Bitcoin position, most of it, at least on Tesla's balance sheet. And so those two were first. Elon Musk doesn't talk about it as much. He rarely talks about Bitcoin these days. But El Salvador, for a nation state, I think it was, President Bukele is definitely also, like you said, Michael Saylor will go down in history as the best investor, but certainly President Bukele will go down in history as one of the greatest leaders ever in history. So I think you'll see that. And yes, when it's super, super safe and when pretty much the US gives the go ahead, then other countries will follow, because it is very difficult to stand up against the humiliation. Michael Saylor did, right? As you said, people were mocking him. Many people were mocking him as it kept on going down and down and down. the same thing happened with El Salvador. We were here, we've been working for President Bukele, and we know what it was like to withstand all of the, not only the media, but the international institutions who were expressed concern about El Salvador and things like that. So I think most people, that famous video of the leader goes out there and dances, and then it takes a while of being out there looking like a fool, and then the second one comes and dances with the first leader, and then a whole crowd comes. So I think there will be a second follower to El Salvador soon, I feel, in the next 18 months, because the bull market usually drives that sort of adoption at the high level. So I think there's going to be another smaller country like El Salvador. El Salvador is almost like a city state, right? So it's 6.5 million people here. That's smaller than New York City. So I think you'll have a similarly, like maybe a little bit bigger, but it'll still be a relatively small country do the same.
In the interview, Max delves into the impending demise of the fiat system and the emergence of a new global monetary framework anchored in the robust foundation of Bitcoin. He emphasizes that this substantial threat has been recognized by custodians within the traditional finance sector, prompting concerted efforts to impede its progress. Max cites JP Morgan CEO, Jamie Dimon, as an example, highlighting Dimon's persistent dissemination of inaccurate anti-crypto narratives. During a recent CNBC interview, Dimon acknowledged the legitimacy of blockchain technology, recognizing its efficiency in moving money and data. However, he downplayed the potential of certain cryptocurrencies, dubbing them as akin to a pet rock and asserting limited use cases for Bitcoin, citing concerns of fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and illicit activities. Dimon contended that beyond these issues, Bitcoin primarily serves as a tool for people to trade among themselves.
We have the collapse of fiat money. I know the fiat money experiment, which is about 300 years old, and then it got very aggressive in the early 1970s in the US when they went off the gold standard. We went on a pure fiat money world. So the results of this are predictably catastrophic, right? The total debt for global debt is it's just skyrocketing to new highs. The US debt keeps going up. And so we're going to head into the big reset at some point. And in one corner will be fiat money. In another corner, which includes CBDC, central bank digital currency, that's another fiat money. Another corner will be gold. And then in the other corner will be Bitcoin. So it'll be a showdown between these three forms of money to see who wins. And I think the smart money is on Bitcoin. Certainly fiat money is going to lose. I think gold is also in the process of being demonetized by Bitcoin. Gold is very sluggish in its price action because of Bitcoin. It's being demonetized by Bitcoin the same way gold demonetized silver.
Yep.
Gold is being demonetized by Bitcoin. So it's never really going to catch up at this point, and it'll go to effectively to zero against Bitcoin. I mean, there'll still be a price for it, but it'll be effectively zero. Well, Bitcoin triggers public mental breakdowns, nervous breakdowns. Nassim Taleb had a very public nervous breakdown in the face of Bitcoin. Jamie Dimon is having a very public nervous breakdown. If I were the board of JP Morgan, I would be concerned because he seems to be mentally incapacitated and should not be on the board. He should not be running that company. Look at Jim Cramer. He's obviously been transformed from being just reliably unpredictable and inconsequential to being an outright publicly melting down clown by Bitcoin, right? So this is what Bitcoin does. It separates the wheat from the chaff. It's a great divider. I say, Bitcoin's not for everybody. It's like in the Bible that says the path narrows. You have to constantly be working on yourself to be your moral, your ethical, your own. You have to work on yourself constantly to keep up with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is perfect money. If you don't put the work into keeping yourself cleansed of fiat money and all the nonsense, you will be destroyed by Bitcoin. And we say that Bitcoin is kind of like the Ark, and El Salvador is like the Ark, and that not everyone's going to make it. And the gene pool may not have Jamie Dimon's family in it anymore because they have made themselves extinct by going with the wrong, they've hard forked themselves from humanity. which is maybe great for us because we don't want those genes in the gene pool going forward. They're too stupid. He's just too stupid. That's the bottom line, is that he's a guy who is achieved his success by essentially, he should definitely have imposter syndrome for real. He's an imposter, essentially.
Michael Saylor, the executive chairman of MicroStrategy, also responded to Jamie Dimon's comments on Bitcoin. Saylor's post, garnering around 600,000 views on X, posits that if one encounters a peculiar new asset resembling a pet rock on a blockchain, providing ownership without the risk of debasement or theft, it signifies the discovery of digital money. He draws attention to the Justice Department's revelation a few years ago, wherein J.P. Morgan resolved criminal charges related to fraudulent trading schemes involving precious metals and U.S. Treasury futures contracts. Despite the significant fines imposed on the New York-based banking giant, Saylor suggests that Dimon's anti-Bitcoin stance may not be entirely negative, given J.P. Morgan's past legal issues. The post concludes by inviting readers to share their thoughts on Max Keiser's Bitcoin outlook in the comments section. For more Daily Dose crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.